Hey, Grego's here. Something different today. In the house, we have Mitch. Mitch will be with us later. He just works night shift, so he's just having a bit of a sleep in. Hilux Toyota, 19 years old already. I think this is one of the first IFS model Hiluxes, so a little bit more comfortable than the really old ones. I've driven one of the early Hiluxes and it was the worst experience of my life. So yeah, but super popular car, and we're getting a makeover, and the owner wants to completely change the look. So the old mining truck, farm truck tray's going, and we've got a tub for it there buried. The tub's been out here a while, but we're going to work on the body first. Quite simple, and then but we've got a change of look. We've got different guards and it's all bolt on, and we're changing the grille, and I think it's getting another bull bar. So we've just been unwrapping stuff like Christmas here. So we've got the different style grill. So it's more, I think, the US spec, Tacoma style, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the details. Mitch might know the details. Hi Mitch.
Hey, hey.
Now tell us, what are these guards that we're bolting up, and what's all this stuff we're putting on?
So these guards are off a 1984, I think.
Earlier model, right?
Early
okay.
Model. So they don't quite bolt up, especially with the different headlights and front that's going on it.
Yeah.
That's why I've got Andy.
Okay, so we're going to have to do some mods.
Yes.
Andrew loves doing mods. So this is our first Hilux. No, we done an earlier Hilux than this, the yellow one. The respray we did on for Mally's dad. Yeah, anyway, getting off track here. So you will not recognise this truck at all. It's getting a makeover in more ways than one, because we're so less farm spec, more off-roady spec. Complete change of colour, change of grille, change of a few things. So tough truck challenge. Is that it? God, I gotta have a clean up in here. I've got stuff everywhere. All right, I better get into it instead of talking too much. And yeah, so we're gonna start unbolting some panels. It's already like 30 degrees at least. Yeah, but we've got the Triple J 200 to 100 playing today. That'll keep us going. So righto, enough chit chat. Time to get into it. Watch this space. I'll chuck you on time lapse. So righto, bye. We've yeah, really pulled apart this bloody bad boy, and yeah, we're just looking at damages. Not really damages, but adapting now. So we had to take the old front off. The new front is being modified as we speak, because the radiator support panel is different. So we've got to try and make it all line up. So we're adapting the new front to sit in the correct position, sit low enough. And the top of the support here doesn't have this raise, so we're going to have to modify the other support so that the bonnet sits close. The new grille, when it's in place, it's very close to the profile of the bonnet, so that's good news. It's not too far out. But the front guards, the profile is not lining up at all with the door and everything. So we're going to modify, basically we're going to use both sets of guards to make one set of guards, and they'll be one-offs. So that's something, the advantage of having the metal shape and stuff around here, and Andrew's skills, we can make it work. So it's basically going to be a wider version of the standard guard, because we need the standard guard to fit nice with the doors, but we're going to modify out here so we can run some bigger tyres if we want to and not stick out too far. So that's it, all stripped down. There's a few, here it comes, the panel. Doing the hottest 200 today. We've missed half of it, but that's okay. Righto, no metal songs yet, Andrew? No metal songs yet, okay. Righto. Let's just see. Well, I'm holding this back as much as I can. So it's just got to thread through all the lines and that for the aircon condense thingies. Oh, up above, up. Oh, can't stretch it out anymore.
Get the rubber band on there.
So yeah, it's all happening here. That's what we're going to do. We've got to get this down in such a way that it sits flush with it, so the guard can bolt up to it. But we've got to make sure the rubber bungs locate. Are you too good for your home? So yeah, we're just trying to get it to sit down, and then we can modify a few things then to fit. So customizing in the house. All right, out for now. I'll put you on time lapse again. Alright, Grego's back, Vanzelf's Restorations. The Tacoma, or the Tacoma, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a creation, this one. And I think it's going to be unique in that the parts that have been ordered, it's not the full kit, which includes everything, so we're customizing some of the standard parts to suit. So as I probably explained earlier, we're going to cut, basically make a wide body version. These do not fit real well at all. You would have to do major surgery to make them fit. So we're modifying the guards that we do have, and we're going to cut these up and weld it to the outside of the standard guards that it came with, and give it more of that square edged look, and it'll also be out wider. So yeah, true custom, almost wide body kit, so that when he goes up from a 31 10.5 to a 32 12.5 2 inches wider. She's going to be covered by the guard still. So it turned out it was a bit of work getting this bad boy on. Yeah, so we had to cut the center part out because of this raise in the bonnet. It wasn't working with this, which was flat right across here. So what we've done is modified it so that we can fill all the gaps that go under the bonnet. So the Tacomas must be a very similar width, but must have a different shaped bonnet, especially underneath. Must be more flat across there. So we've got it so that the latch lines up, and there's all a bit of so that shows you the difference in the height of where that needs to be. The latch, the mechanism bolts in up that much higher, so that's why it was worth going to the effort of cutting and welding that on. We've also got to make brackets for the air conditioning little housing there that sits on the front, so it's custom. We've got to custom make some brackets here. Andrew's made some little temporary ones there just to hold the radiator. Those wing nuts, there'll be proper ones going in there. We've got sort of these rubber backed washers, so a bit of vibration suppression. Yeah, so all the mods that we needed to do to get the rubber bushes that sit on here up in underneath there, and the bolts will still be able to go through and bolt through like standard. That's the aim. So none of this is straightforward whatsoever. This is needed to mount the front guard, but we've got this now to a level, because before the bonnet was sitting way up high and all this was up high, but we've modified it in such a way that we could drop the whole thing down. We still needed this high bit in the center, obviously, but at least that's bolted down. The guard will bolt down there now. So yeah, as far as the rest of the body goes, we're painting a completely different color, like nothing more boring than a white Toyota. Now we're going for a really cool metallic green, and yeah, it's going to look really good. So yeah, totally different color for your standard Hilux. So admittedly, you know, most of them are probably white, and which is a bit ho-hum. So, but it is still a budget job where the glass isn't all coming out. You might say, well, you know, you're going to this much effort, but we can still do a good job with the glass in. We've got a method where we lift the rubbers up on the edge and shove some electrical wire in there, and it lifts the rubber off the painted surface, and then you take the edge of the rubber so paint gets in behind there, and then when you finish painting, you just pull the wire out and the rubber sits back down against, and you've got paint underneath it. So this isn't so much of a drama here if you take the edges of that glass. Yeah, so that's, you know, I only gave it a rough mask to get some primer on. As you can tell, it wasn't perfect, didn't have to be perfect, but I wasn't happy with it. Had been looked like it had definitely been resprayed. It had been resprayed with some suspect material on the roof and the bonnet. It was different to the rest. The rest was pretty much original, but it had some different paint. I'm not sure whether it was acrylic, enamel, or just really poorly painted 2-pack. Could have been poorly painted 2-pack. I didn't want to take any chances, so I put a coat of PR250 epoxy on it first, and that sort of will help lock it down if there's, so in case you don't have compatibility with your paints. So we'll see how that goes. You know, this is for someone I know. If there's any dramas down the track, we can sort it out then. It'll only be on the roof and bonnet anyway. But I did a bit of pre-filling and got the car nice and straight, looking good. Yeah, so of course, being a change of colour, so you can see the grille there, completely different grille to the Hilux, and the side lights are different. So we've got a modify the guards as well on the front part of the guards. You can't see it with all that piled up on there. Yeah, here we've got to modify this as well to suit the new tail lights, which are more like rounded out there. So customizing, those front guards are going to get a bit of work, but I thought I'll get this shell painted and whatever, and we'll work out what we're going to do with this paint wise. It's all plastic, so we can just we've got a special 1K plastic primer, adhesion primer, that you put on that first before you put your regular primer and paint on there. So that's the plan for that. But yeah, so Tacoma is, or bloody Hilux, whichever one you want to call it. It's well on its way. So this is your standard, fairly subtle. So it's a 3-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine Toyota. A reliable old donk, but power, it's probably got about 40 horsepower on a good day with the wind behind you. So it's got a little bit of torque, but I mean, it can certainly do with some boost. So I think that's on the cards. We're going to this much effort. He's going to get a suspension kit done. Oh, and we're putting the tub on. The tray's gone, obviously, as you can tell. We've already prepped the tray up, the tub rather. So it's going to be a big transformation to go from a basic garden variety tradies ute to a customised. Yeah, well, it is going to be an off-road vehicle. He's definitely going to be doing some four-wheel driving in it, so it will get bigger wheels and tyres and good suspension put on it, and yeah, so it's going to be looking pretty cool. All right, well, I might cap that out as part 1, put that up, generate a bit of interest. Our first, well, actually we did a quick respray on an even earlier Hilux. I think it was a 82 or something. So, but that was a job, but this thing's a little bit more involved. But it's for one of Andrew's mates, so we're looking after him, and he was here as well helping, so that's all good. And but you can only do so much. The rest is pretty much going to be left up to Andrew's fabricating skills and my bodywork and paint skills. So yeah, watch your space. I'll I'll just quickly show you that. A very, very heavy duty. You can see how thick that is. Stainless steel bash plate. So oh yeah, and the owner, so once we've got the Tacoma grill across the front there, the owner is actually making his own bull bar. It's going to be a shorty one, so not so much bull bar, but more off-road protection when you know, for your approach angle, and you know, possibly a winch mount built in or whatever. So yeah, yeah, pretty excited about this project, something a little bit different, and let us know in the comments of how you think it's going to turn out. Will it look funny because it's not the OG front anymore? Who knows? But nothing wrong with seeing how it turns out. Apparently there's a couple of others, people who have done it, but it won't look quite the same, put it that way, because I think the kit that you can buy includes the guards and the bonnet and everything, like all this stuff that we're going to customize. I think you can buy, but yeah, we're going to make this a one-off anyway. So at least we'll have nice gaps and all that for door gaps when we get these guards back on. Oh, in case you didn't know, this is your standard air intake. It's breathing through the back of the wheel arch. It's got this little canister on here. You don't get to see this all the time, how that feeds the standard air filter. So you would have a water drain on the bottom. If that got a mouthful of water, it would take quite a while before it got through to here. So, but I'm pretty sure as part of this guard modifications, there'll be a big 3-inch hole cut into it, and it will be a nice stainless snorkel, perhaps. Maybe we'll rip the PVC gutters off, the downpipes off the house and whack them on, you know, should be right.
You're gonna get
So,
banned.
all right, I'm going to get banned, right? As Andrew said, copyright, music in the background. But anyway, hopefully I've been talking too much. Righto, we're going to close out for now. Talk to you later.